What was a normal day like for a human who lived 100,000 years ago? No phones, no houses, no supermarkets, not even a simple match to light a fire.
So let's travel back roughly 100,000 years to a world where survival depended on what you could find, make, carry, and remember.
Their morning began with the sun. They woke inside simple shelters, checked their surroundings, gathered their belongings, and prepared for another day of survival.
Their first big problem was simple: food. They gathered fruits, roots, seeds, and edible plants.
And they weren't simply hunters. Gathering was incredibly important too, while hunting required teamwork, patience, and a very good understanding of the animals around them.
But humans had an advantage: their brains and their hands. They shaped stones into cutting tools, turning ordinary...
A successful hunt wasn't just about being strong. Hunters had to read footprints, understand animal behavior.
After hours outside, the group finally returned to shelter. Whatever they had found that day had to be divided carefully, because tomorrow's food was never guaranteed.
And then there was fire. Imagine how extraordinary this must have seemed. Warmth in the cold, light after... And once the work was finished, life wasn't just about survival. People talked, shared food, cared for children, taught skills.
But outside that circle of fire was another world. Predators moved through the darkness, and a careless moment could... Eventually, everyone settled down to sleep, usually close together for warmth and safety. Tomorrow, they would wake up and begin the same uncertain cycle again.
Their world was incredibly different from ours. But look closely. They still worried about food, protected their families.
Then I came back to my own world. Electricity, supermarkets, cars, phones. Compared with that ancient shelter,
they weren't primitive versions of us. They were humans, just like us, living under completely different conditions. And somehow,
And water was just as important as food. Groups had to know where rivers, springs, and reliable water sources could be found.
They had no maps or GPS. Mountains, rivers, trees, and rocks became their landmarks, and knowing the landscape could mean knowing where to find food. And when seasons changed or food became scarce, groups sometimes moved. Humans had to follow the resources that kept them alive. Shelter didn't have to be a house. Branches, leaves, hides, and caves could provide enough protection from wind, rain, and cold.
Clothing also mattered. Animal hides and plant fibers could protect the body from cold, wind, rain, and rough environments. And knowledge had to be passed from one generation to the next. Children learned by watching adults, copying them, practicing, and remembering.
Communication was another survival tool. Sharing information about danger, food, and animals helped the entire group make better decisions. And when someone was injured, cooperation mattered again. People could carry, feed, protect, and care for members of their group.
Of course, life was hard. A bad season, an injury, illness, or simply not finding enough food could have serious consequences.
And perhaps their greatest advantage wasn't a single tool or weapon. It was cooperation. Many people solving problems together. Over generations, humans didn't just preserve fire, they experimented. Eventually, techniques using friction or... Once fire could be controlled and recreated, it became more than an accident. It became a technology, something humans could carry, protect, and use.
None of these changes happened overnight. They were countless small discoveries, remembered, improved, and passed from one generation to another.
Standing between those two worlds, I realized something. Modern life didn't appear suddenly. It was built from thousands of generations solving ordinary problems.
100,000 years ago, they were simply trying to survive one more day. They couldn't know it then, but their discoveries would eventually